Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really remarkable document, an internal investigation that alleges a secret has been kept for decades. A program that's been hiding information not just about UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, the government's term for UFOs, but about non-human intelligence itself. And all of it, supposedly, has been concealed from Congress and from you. Okay, let's just jump right in because the author does not mess around. The report opens with this absolute bombshell of a statement, and it sets a really serious tone. This tells you right away we're not just looking at some strange lights in the sky, we're talking about claims of a massive high level conspiracy. So, what is this all really about? Look, before we get into the wild stuff, we've got to get the language right. It's really important that we're all on the same page here, because these aren't just buzzwords. The government uses these terms very specifically, and understanding them is the key to unlocking what this report is actually claiming. First up, UAP. This stands for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. Now, you might be wondering, why the change from the classic UFO? Well, it's a very deliberate shift. It's meant to broaden the scope way beyond just flying objects, and to get this whole topic a lot more scientific respect. A UAP can be anything unidentified in the air, under the sea, or even in space. It's all about moving the conversation from pop culture into the world of national security. And then there's this, NHI, or non-human intelligence. And this, right here, is where the report goes from just fascinating to, well, truly world-altering. It's not just talking about weird craft anymore. It makes the explicit claim that the US government knows about intelligent, non-human life and is actively hiding it. Just think about that for a second. The implications, if that's true, are almost impossible to wrap your head around. Now, what's really interesting is how the report claims a secret this huge is being managed. This isn't just some file locked in a drawer somewhere. We're talking about a complex, clandestine program that was designed from the ground up to operate completely in the shadows. So how could a program with a secret this big possibly work? Well, the document actually gives it a name, Immaculate Constellation. It's described as what's called an unacknowledged special access program, basically the blackest of black projects, one that has never been legally reported to Congress. Its mission? To find, collect, and analyze every bit of data on UAPs, and, this is the critical part, any potential occupants or recovered craft. And here's how it allegedly operates. It's a four-step process. First, it detects UAPs and something the report calls alien or reproduction vehicles. Step 2, that data is immediately quarantined, locked down. 3, it's moved to a totally secure, isolated network before it can ever hit the normal intelligence channels. And finally, step 4, it's analyzed in total secrecy. You see? It's a closed loop, completely firewalled off from any official oversight. So you have to be asking, what kind of data is this program supposedly hoarding? The report doesn't just make claims. It lays out some really specific, jaw-dropping examples, taken directly from military sensor data. This is what's known as imagery intelligence, or IMINT. So, what did some of our most advanced sensors actually see? All right, let's get into our first case file. This one's from CENTCOM's area of operations, and it involves a daytime recording from a FLIR system. Now, FLIR stands for forward-looking infrared. It's a camera that sees heat, not light. It's how the military can see everything, day or night. And what it saw over the ocean that day was extraordinary. I mean, just picture this. You've got anywhere from 8 to 12 metallic orbs, each one up to 20 feet wide, flying in a perfect cube formation. On the heat-sensing camera, they were glowing white-hot against the cold, dark ocean. They were making these agile maneuvers that just defy our understanding of aerodynamics, then shot straight up at an incredible speed, all while holding that perfect, rigid formation. It's just wild. And if you think that sounds strange, believe me, this next case from Northcom is even weirder. This infrared footage caught a UAP crossing the US-Mexico border that was so bizarre, military observers didn't even have a word for it. So what did they see? They said it looked like a jellyfish, or even a brain, with these appendages hanging down. It had no wings, no engines, no exhaust plume, nothing. No visible propulsion at all. And yet it moved with what they called an unnatural rigidity across the sky. This thing was tracked moving with purpose over sensitive airspace, and it looked more like some kind of organic life form than any machine we could ever build. And finally, we have a sighting of the now famous Tic Tac UAP. But this particular case from Southcom adds a really crucial new layer. It wasn't just a pilot that saw it, it was also detected by a space-based asset. And that's a huge deal because it suggests a level of coordinated, high-tech tracking that goes way beyond just a random encounter. So here's the kicker. This is all about multi-platform data collection. While this Tic Tac was zipping around near sea level, it was also being tracked by satellites in orbit that were collecting its electromagnetic signature. This report alleges a coordinated multi-domain tracking of a single, weird object by some of our most advanced systems. That is a very, very significant claim. But hey, it's not all about cold, hard machine data. The report also pulls together more than 3 decades of eyewitness accounts from highly credible military personnel. This is the human intelligence, or human side of the puzzle. So what have these trained observers been seeing up close all these years? And we're not talking about just a handful of stories here. This analysis is based on over 400 separate defense reports stretching across 31 years. By putting all this data in one place, the report claims it's found clear, recurring patterns in what pilots, sailors, and soldiers have been witnessing. Let's take a look at those. Yeah, so when you crunch all the numbers, a really clear pattern of shapes emerges. The most commonly reported UAPs are spheres and orbs, which, you'll notice, lines up perfectly with that cuboid orbs sensor case we just talked about. That's followed pretty closely by the classic disk or saucer shape, and then triangles, which are often described as flying totally silently at low altitude. Now, what's really fascinating is when we zoom in on just one of those shapes, like the Tic Tac. The consistency across hundreds of reports is just astonishing. Witnesses consistently describe instant acceleration to hypersonic speeds, but, and this is huge, with no sonic boom. That just shouldn't be possible. It breaks the laws of physics as we know them. They describe this smooth, seamless white surface and this incredible ability to just hover motionless, even in hurricane-force winds, before just vanishing. So, this all leads to the big question, right? If all this machine data and all this human testimony exists inside the government, why isn't it public knowledge? The report's final section tackles this head-on, alleging a deliberate, decades-long campaign of denial and obstruction. So what exactly does it claim is happening behind the scene? According to the author, leadership has a consistent playbook when Congress starts asking questions. It starts with trivialization, dismissing credible reports as weather balloons or equipment malfunctions. Then comes obfuscation, hiding the real data behind excessive layers of classification. And finally, the most serious charge, outright denial, lying to lawmakers and telling them that programs like Immaculate Constellations simply do not exist. And all of this leads to the document's absolutely stunning final claim. It asks, what are the stakes here? And according to the author, they couldn't possibly be higher. The report states that the official disclosure of non-human intelligence would be a pivotal moment in our history, a fundamental turning point for our entire species. And yet, after laying out this world-changing secret and the massive alleged conspiracy to hide it, the report ends not with a dire warning, but with a simple 2-word message of reassurance. Be not afraid. What could that possibly mean for what comes next? And that leaves us with a final, really provocative thought. This document argues that the truth is being hidden, but that when it finally comes out, we shouldn't be afraid. So, if any of these claims are true, what does that future actually look like? What really happens the day after disclosure? It's definitely something to think about.